Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Elizabeth A. Corshu. I am the founder and CEO of Nurse Exec Innovations, as well as I am the host that has curated this podcast titled Mic'd Up and Unapologetic. Mic'd Up and Unapologetic is basically a podcast that is speaking truth to power because we live in a society today where we have an overwhelm of information, but there's a lot of misinformation. And for those of you that love transparency, honesty, this will be the podcast for you because we speak truth to power. There's it's a no judgment zone. It's free. We're here to interact. We're here to learn. We're here to grow. We're here to evolve because we are human beings and we are here to be compassionate and to be gracious because I feel that it's something that is truly, truly lacking in society today, which is love, peace, joy, goodness, kindness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self control. But enough about that. I'm going to lean in because I'm really excited. Um, my guest tonight is Nurse Noel. She has blessed us with her presence tonight, kind of hit her up. And I was like, you know what? I would really love to do a podcast about really giving homage and honor to our mothers and other nurses who have been reared and mentored by their mothers who are, or maybe grandmothers or aunties that are nurses. But I really wanted to do a deep dive and have a conversation about what that looks like being daughters of nurses that are legacy in motion. Because a lot of times we love to say, and when I say we, I'm talking about us collectively, those that are watching in the audience, those that are catching the replay, and those that will see this maybe months or years from now, or even decades, who knows. But what I will say is that collectively, we are our ancestors' wildest dreams. And even before we got on this podcast, we were talking about some colleagues that have really soared and really have aspired and attained the level of which where they desire to be. And a lot of it usually starts with a dream. But with that dream, you also have to have a plan. So you have to act, plan, and you have to plan, act, and do. So I am so grateful that we have Nurse Noel here today. She is a chief health and wellness officer. She has her own consulting business. This is a brand that she has started way back when. I remember, I can't, she'll tell us when, but I remember her coming into my office at the time. She was working in the ICU. I was a director of cardiac services, and we were just having a one-to-one, like, honest conversation about where do we see ourselves in the next 5 years, let alone 10 years, right? And I remember she was telling me how she was looking to really navigate into the health and wellness space and the entertainment and sports industry. And I said, go for it, do it, and that's what you want. You want people in your corner, in your circle, that not only you don't want yes people all the time, but you do want people that are going to challenge you and that are going to push you to your highest level. So I am going to pass the virtual mic over to Nurse Noel and ask her to really introduce herself. I didn't want to give any wrong dates because, like I told you, I'm all about transparency and truth to power. So if you can kind of just lean in and share, how did you come about into nursing? I know we're going to talk a little bit further, but just give us a little brevity intro, little appetizer of who Nurse Noel is.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank you, Elizabeth, for for having me. Okay, I'm a little hoarse, but I needed to be on this show today. I appreciate it. I really, really am happy to be here. Um, Thank you for having me. So I started, why is it, it's getting worse. I started my nursing in 1997. Um, my mom was a nurse, and I just wanted to be just like my mother, as you know. You can definitely identify with that. And yeah, nursing. I am so happy that I am a nurse. It's the best thing. It's the best decision that I did not make. Okay. My mom, I wanted to be a nurse, but my mother sent me to Alabama to finish my nursing degree, to finish my degree in nursing and biology because I was a wild thing. I was wilding out. Yes. I was wilding out. I was working in entertainment at the time. I was doing little, I was working for a record label, and I was just not focused. And New York was like the mecca of R&B and hip hop, and I just was immersed in that culture. And my mother, being a Trinidadian Caribbean woman, said, "Nope, you're going to Alabama." So I went to Alabama, and I finished. And I met some of the best people of that I could ever meet, and my still friends to this day. But a lot of my nursing cohorts, we just have like this family, and it's just a family. Anytime you see a nurse, you're like, "Oh, you're a nurse? Oh, okay, I see you, I see you." So yeah, I became a nurse. I graduated in 1997. I became a registered nurse in 1998 because I failed my boards the first time I took them. And I thought I was defeated. I thought I was going to be done. But, fast forward to, it's been 28 years. 28, yeah, 28 years.
Nope, 29.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, okay. 20.
Yeah,
And I'm sorry, my allergies are getting the best of me this allergy season.
that's okay. I think we talked about it behind the scenes. That raspy voice kind of sounds like Anita Baker, sexy. So
Okay.
we're gonna keep the Anita Baker right now.
Okay.
So thank you for sharing that. But I just have a question. Why Alabama? Why so far? Why all the way down there?
I went to a Christian school. I
Oh,
went
okay.
to, I was raised Seventh Day Adventist, and I went to Oakwood University, where so many people went. Oh my goodness! But it's a Seventh Day Adventist university, and I decided to. Well, she decided that that's best for me.
Okay.
They had a
Without
curfew. It's a
Yeah,
dry campus. It's so
you said it's a dry campus. Also, no alcohol,
no
no nothing,
alcohol, and
nothing.
we had a curfew. We had a curfew.
What?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So our mothers, so your mother was a nurse, my
Mm,
mother was a nurse. My mother um, became a nurse back home in Haiti, but then
mhm,
she had the opportunity to transition over here to the United States. It was an opportunity. Yeah, beautiful opportunity. Unfortunately, I didn't pick up that. Should have showed that picture, but she was one of 20 nurses that had the opportunity to come right here to the States, to New Jersey, actually, and full room and board, the whole nine. And it was an opportunity similar to like in the 1980s, they recruited
mhm,
a lot of Filipino nurses.
mhm,
So I don't think ever again did they recruit Haitian nurses like they did
mhm.
in the 1960s. But to God be the glory. My mother was one of the 20, and
What year did you come?
she came in 1961.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she came in the 60s. So she had a great career run between she was a supervisor. I guess I get my leadership skills from her. She was a
Mhm,
supervisor in New York. She was in various, I could call the different hospitals. I'm not, but they were in between in New York City and Brooklyn. I think one of them is still pretty much, I think it's called Brookdale,
Yeah.
um,
Hmm.
Brookdale Medical Center now, but at that time it was something was hospital, and I think it was Cumberland. Put it this way, my mother was all up in the hospitals in New York, and my mother would then eventually find her, I guess, find her final place here in Elizabeth, um, which is now Trinitas Regional Medical Center. It was called St. Elizabeth Hospital.
Yeah.
So that was my mother's path. But just like you, I feel like Caribbean women, they have a very particular strong, gentle nudge to let their children know what direction they want them to go. And I was kind of like you. I kind of wanted to be in everything. So I
Mhm.
think my mother had to kind of like lean in and narrow it down, like say,
Mhm.
okay, this is a this is a career. It's more than just a job. This is a career path, and it's going to open up many doors. And but um, I, I I will say there was a level of curiosity that kind of leaned me into nursing, but we'll talk more about it with the questions that I'll
Mhm.
lean into. So, our mothers entered nursing, right, during a different era. Mine was in the 60s. I don't know when your mom came. Was she in the 70s?
So my mother became a registered nurse in 1964,
Okay.
and then she migrated to New York in 1970.
Okay, so my mother was here about maybe 10 years before. So, or a few years before. So in during that era, it was very different, right? 1960s, 70s, 80s, right? So
Mhm.
what values, lessons of their generation of nursing do you believe are still critically relevant today?
I think that they had like more like they had camaraderie.
Mm,
They stuck together. They
mm,
moved together.
mm,
They didn't know what was, they couldn't take advantage of what the United States had to offer because they didn't know their first generation here.
mm.
So they were learning from each other. So
Correct.
it was like a family. So my mother and her friends, um, they worked at Cumberland, they worked at Kings County, Harlem, Cola, all of the Health and Hospital Corporation hospitals and city hospitals because it was easy to get in. They were, they were black, and even though, well, my mother was recruited, but she wasn't recruited to a specific hospital. They went to Trinidad and said, "We need nurses," and in the airport, they gave them their permanent residency, green card,
Mm,
automatic. Like this is what was going on. So one told one, and they all said, "Okay, we're going to go over together." And I
wow.
think what they took was like, we're it's all for one for all. And I think sometimes we need to get back to that
Mm.
wholeheartedly. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely can say that I would agree with that level of unity, right?
Mhm.
Like Queen Latifah loves to say, UNITY. Yeah,
Unite.
shout out to my soror, Queen Latifah. UNITY. Unity is so important in nursing. I can even remember, thank you for sharing that story about your mom. I can remember even working on a unit back in the day on the night shift, and we had that level of unity.
Mhm.
And if you didn't have that level of unity, you would not have survived your shift. You just wouldn't. But what I'm observing and I'm hearing and I'm listening, even when I was in the roles of leadership within the hospital setting, because I have since left the hospital setting. I work in the corporate sector now, but I noted how some nurses thrived because they had that sense of unity, and then others were just wallowing in a pool of despair
Mm,
because they were just either they felt isolated or they felt that there was a lack of trust. There was a generational divide. There might have been a cultural divide. There was a number of layers. But one of the things that I brought to every particular role that I was in leadership within the hospital setting was, like you said, that level of camaraderie and that unity and having each other's back.
right.
And that was a level of intentionality and
Hmm.
the vibe that people felt once they walked on my unit, because they were like, "Oh, Elizabeth doesn't play. Like, she doesn't play that. Like, we're all for one, one for all." And
Hmm.
I even remember, and I'm not going to call this particular person's name because that person now is the CNO of a hospital in New Jersey, but I was kind of taken aback when she said, "Are you ready for this?" She said, "Oh, Elizabeth's unit is the United Nations."
Oh, well, I mean, like, okay.
I said, "Excuse me." I was very very joyous and prideful because I felt that not only did that help for camaraderie, but it also helped for patient interaction to have a nurse that, like, I had several Jamaicans, several Filipinos, several Hispanic, Polish, Lithuania, Haitian, you name it, all the entire Mandarin, Chinese. I mean, I had it all. So I just had to just share that. But huh?
Transcultural,
Transcultural, yeah. And that's what, isn't that what we learned in nursing?
Mhm. It's great.
so so how has the image and identity of nursing evolved from our mother's generation to now, especially for women of color and daughters of immigrants?
I think it has evolved. There's an influx. There's a big influx of nurses that look like me, which is a good thing because I was usually one of the only ones who look like me on the unit. And that's amazing. So seeing the young nurses come up, that's so amazing. Like, that's so dope. I love it. What else? Just we still have the intergenerational issues, right?
Hmm.
Um, the baby boomers, silent generation, Gen X, millennials, Gen Zs, trying to understand the different culture. I mean, the different cultures of, you know, intergenerational. So that could be a challenge, but
Hmm.
I'm here for it. I love it. I love learning from the older, and I love learning from the newer. So, like, so many different changes that are just,
Hmm.
especially with women of color. We see women of color in leadership roles now. Um,
Hmm.
I just spoke at Harlem, and just to see their CNO look like me, I was like, okay, like, this is huge. So this is I'm 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 loving it. I'm embracing it. I'm wrapping my arms around it. It's amazing because I didn't think it would be like this. We have a voice.
Yes, we do. We do. We do. And for those, so for those nurses that may not have the opportunity to see a multicultural staff,
Mhm.
what would you recommend? Because I would assume I never, you were in Alabama, I wasn't.
Mhm.
Um, I would assume in the South it's a little bit different.
Well, I was in a very progressive town, Huntsville, Alabama. So
Okay.
in Huntsville, it was, it was very integrated. Where you have places now, like in South Jersey, where it's not, it's not like a rainbow. It's just one set of people, and you're like, okay. And when you go into these places, sometimes you feel welcome. Sometimes, most times you don't. And
Mm,
I, because I'm still at the bedside, I still am at the bedside. I work. I do agency back and forth. Today I was in South Jersey at a surgical center, and yeah, it could be challenging. It's challenging sometimes because I feel like sometimes we're so misunderstood. A lot of times we're misunderstood without being. Well, you know what? Let me just say it. I feel like I have to have that much more education, that much more experience, that much more um, expertise, and still not seen as equal.
mm.
So it's challenging.
Yeah, it's very, that's a very powerful statement,
Yeah.
and I would definitely agree with you. Um,
I'm trying to be
and
politically correct.
yeah, no, no, no. It's true. It's true. It's true, and that it's so true. Let me just share this with you. We
Mhm.
talked about what would be certain things that take from generation to generation. So I remember when I graduated, my mother asked me, what did I want for graduation? And I kid you not, I wanted something so simple. And she's like, what do you want? And back then in the 90s, that was
Right.
very popular. Um, I had a gold pin. I said, Mommy, I want a gold pin just like you. The only difference is I want to make sure on my pin, because at that time, a BSN was almost equivalent to somebody with a master's, right? Because
Mhm.
that many people weren't going for their BSNs. A lot of
Mhm.
people were diploma schools or associate degrees.
Mhm.
So I didn't know what hospital I was going to go and be assigned to or hired for, but I knew I needed to have that pin, that gold pin that said Elizabeth A. Corshoe, BSN RN.
Wow, that's what you wanted. I
That's
wanted.
all.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
all I wanted. And let me tell you, um, do you know how many times I walked in rooms and people, first of all, I looked too young, and I
Mhm.
guess I was too black and too brilliant. I don't know. But anyway, I used to just say, here, take a look at my pen. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? So to the point where there would be even other nurses that were not of color, and it became the, I call it the inquisition. It became, how did you get that? Why? And I will say this. I believe on my unit at that time in 97, I inspired more than half the staff to go back to school.
Wow.
They
That's so.
did. Yeah, yeah. So
That's
it's
amazing.
amazing to see the sign of time. So
Mhm.
today's nurses are practicing in a very increasingly fast-paced, high-tech, data-driven healthcare system with so many challenges. And in a time where we need to focus on wellness, not only on the patient, but we also have to practice self-care
Mhm.
and human connection in the environment. What would you recommend to nurses of today? Because the nurses of today are dealing with a whole another level of gamut of stress.
I think we need to, and as much as I love social media. We
Mm,
need more interaction with each other. And I'm trying to get more nurse friends, to be honest with you, um, because nurses understand what I'm going through.
mm,
Um, yeah, I think my there's one friend that I could call and just say, guess what? I was on a and she understands it, she gets it. Um, I think that it's not cookie cutter because you have to do what you like to do. I
mhm.
to I like outdoors. Some people might not like outdoors. I like nature. But I say do what fits you and do what you like to do, but you have to do it. And it's not, you have to turn off work sometimes. You have to turn off, even not nursing, because that's not what we do. That's who we are. We're always nurses. We're always caring. We always have altruistic minds, but we need to turn off work.
Yeah, we
Like,
have to unplug. Yeah, we
yes,
have to unplug.
the job. And
Mhm.
so I think that's very therapeutic. Also, we have to lean into the generation before as well as the generation after. I think that's a big, we don't do that. Like we need, we learn from everywhere, from everyone, the new ones coming in and the old ones.
Oh
Um,
yeah, definitely, definitely. I would definitely say unplug, 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 unplug. I remember, ooh, when I worked in the ICU, trauma ICU. I think I was the most fit nurse ever because there was such a high level of stress. But
mhm.
um, I worked out twice a day. I
Wow.
was also doing taekwondo and because it was just that much stress. But when I look back, because there's moments like even when I was writing my book, my first book, um, there were moments that I realized there were certain things that I didn't heal from that I saw.
Hmm.
It would just come up, or maybe if I watched a movie. And I remember challenging, okay, maybe the word's not, no. I remember inquiring,
Okay.
inquiring of my supervisor at the time, is there some type of opportunity to de-stress, decompress, to to share our experiences after we've worked a 8 hour, mines at the time easily turn from 8 hours to 16 hours. We didn't have
Mm,
12-hour shifts just yet. So
right.
we easily was 16 hours and 16 hours of, infusing blood and, you know, being one on one with like some people will be like, oh, she only has one patient. But if you have one patient, that means you're going to be really, really busy in
Busy.
the
Yeah.
ICU. You got multiple drips, and it's just, you don't know whether like when you see a patient has has gone through all the rhythms in an EKG book, it's a busy night.
Mm-hmm.
So, I used to ask those questions, but I'm glad that now it's tying into mental health. And today, this month is Mental Health Month. But
Yes.
these are the things that we need, like you said, we need to listen to those above, ahead of us, and those that are under us, because every generation brings something to the table.
There you go.
So yeah, I definitely wanted to highlight the importance of unplugging because you just never know when you're going to be triggered. And I'm telling you, there are things that I watch like on a movie, and I'm like, oh my god, what? And I'm like, oh, okay, that's because I saw it in real, what they call it in living color.
Hmm.
So, do you believe healthcare has become too focused on technology and productivity metrics at the
Absolutely.
expense huh? At the
Absolutely.
expense of holistic patient care and the well-being of practitioners?
All right. Absolutely. I think so. Um, It seems like they're focused more, and that's how they get reimbursed. I get it. But I don't, if I'm not charting properly, but I'm taking care of my patient, and then then what do you want from me? I believe I shouldn't say that because technology has taken a lot of time. It's saving a lot of time. Remember when we used to transcribe
Oh
medication
boy.
on MAR,
Oh
like
yeah.
all of that, definitely mixing our own meds, all of that technology has helped. However, I think we're too driven on numbers and not focusing on patient outcomes. So I want to see that. I want to see, people go back to that.
So one of my initiatives that I work on is called Bringing Back the Heart of Healthcare.
Okay.
And there's 5 pillars.
Mhm.
And the pillars is pretty much compassion,
Mm,
empathy, listening,
mhm,
communication, and honest, transparent, full transparency.
mm.
Um, and when you have those in place, everything can just flow effortlessly, um, to a certain degree. Yes, metrics is very important. Yes, as we talked about, you know, hospitals get reimbursed, insurance companies get reimbursed, physicians
Mhm.
get reimbursed. All of that is important. But most importantly, we have to get back to bringing back the heart of healthcare.
Right.
And that is something that I pretty much go in and I do, consulting gigs in regards to the importance of bringing back the heart of healthcare, because that's what's missing. That's a big component that's missing. Because at the end of the day, a lot of times things get misconstrued, miscommunication, things get lost. Even how about readmissions, right?
Mhm.
Certain readmissions happen because of, there's so many levels to it, but a lot of times it's a lack of communication about
Right.
something that needed to be done. Same thing with medication. Like there are times a person could have gone home if they had received the medication, right? But if
Mhm.
the medication didn't come through, didn't get, I don't know. You'd have to go through all of the rigmarole, but
Right.
you understand what I'm trying to say.
Of course. Yes, I
Uh,
do.
we need to get back to the basics, um, and that's just my thoughts.
My
But it's,
too.
yeah, is your thoughts as well? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
most
So if
definitely.
you ever have an opportunity where you need somebody to come and talk about the bringing back the heart of healthcare, yours truly has a whole full presentation about that.
Oh, nice. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that.
So, how can nurses protect their mental, their emotional, their physical, their spiritual health while continuing to care for others daily?
Okay, so honestly, I'm probably not the best person to ask that
I can answer it, but go ahead.
because I don't. I
Okay.
I take everything into the into the workplace, and then well, it depends on what workplace we're talking about. We're talking about the bedside, right?
Well,
Mm,
you're a nurse everywhere, wherever you go, whether you're in the
mhm,
boardroom. I mean, when I look at that question, I think
mhm,
about through the spectrum, right? We're
okay,
almost nurses of 30 years. I have been a nurse at the bedside, education role,
right.
board, leadership role, boardroom, community outreach, now corporate sector. Um,
So
one of
okay,
the biggest,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. One of the biggest things I would say, I've always practiced in attitude of gratitude and stayed grounded.
Mhm,
Even I didn't know all of that when I was doing that back in the 90s, but that's what I was doing. Like I told you, I didn't have an outlet to get all this I don't want to use the word junk, but it feels like, when you don't release all that stress and emotions and the grief and the heaviness, it just wears on you. So one of the things that I used to do, I love, one of my favorite artists, gospel artists, is Yolanda Adams. I think her voice is just heavenly. And there
Mhm.
was a song called Open Up My Heart. I open up my heart. And I literally would play Open Up My Heart on repeat from my original destination to the hospital, and sit in the car and listen to the words. And I would just ask God to really guide me for that day. And that's how I was, asking Him really to guide me. And then when it was really too much, and a lot of times nurses will say, "Oh, you don't have to leave the unit. You can come and eat with us." And no. If you need to leave the unit, if your spirit, your mind is telling you you need a break to get
Mhm.
away. You need that moment. Take your 15-minute, your break, whatever. And one of the things that I also used to do, I found the chapel in where, I don't
Okay.
care what hospital it is, I'm always finding the chapel, the area
Mhm.
where I could just pray. Or just, if I don't pray, I just sit there. Like, there was
Mhm.
one time I went to the chapel, and I think it was a Muslim guy, and Muslim man, and he was on his knees, and I respected, because he was doing what he needed to do. You understand what I'm saying?
No,
So
yeah.
you just have to really unplug, because if you don't, it's going to affect you physically or mentally. But you were about to say something.
I was going to say, hey, I need to set boundaries. So that's
Mm,
I
that's a
set
good
boundaries,
one.
and that's not only in nursing because I also work in television. So I set boundaries. That's my thing. That's
Okay.
that.
No,
Set
that's
that.
and something, that's a very, very good one. I learned that the hard way.
Hmm.
I learned that the hard way. Um, Especially when you come from a Caribbean, and it's not just Caribbean, just a mother that is just so giving and just wants to be everything to everybody, and just
Right.
pouring and pouring. And when you just keep pouring and pouring, and you don't have anything else to pour out of,
Hmm.
you're going to be emotionally drained, exhausted,
Exactly.
depleted. And when people come to you and you finally say no, they are very taken aback with, why are you saying no? Like, how dare you?
How dare you?
Yeah, how
Exactly.
dare you? So that is a very important one. So thank you for sharing. So if you were to think about your personal reflection and growth, if you could speak to your 20-year-old something self that just entered nursing school, what wisdom would you give to her?
I would give a few things, but I think that I shouldn't compartmentalize things. Like this was over here, this was over here, this was over here, this was over here. It took me a long time to merge everything together and be
Mm,
successful at it. I didn't think that nursing wasn't everything that I did or
mm,
everything that I wanted to do, but it is. It still is. So there's nursing in sports. I love sports. There's nursing in there's nursing in corporate. I love corporate. There's nursing in movies and television and music and things that I just love. And I was like, but I thought that nursing was over here and everything else was over there. And it took my friend Bevy Smith to suggest that I merge them together.
well,
And this.
shout out to Bevy Smith, because
Mhm,
I'll be honest with you,
mhm,
I I felt that nursing could be everything you ever wanted to be. Like, I literally, like, so I don't know if you saw the Michael Jackson movie. I know it's kind of
mhm,
going off. But I am the type of person, and I think it's because, and this is not me bragging, I'm finally coming into the realization and owning this word. I didn't used to own it because I didn't think I was really that creative, but I get it. I get it all the time. I'm a creative. So I have always been that young child that can see it. Even though nobody else sees it, I can
Mhm.
feel it. I can taste it. I can smell it. So anything that I ever wanted to bring, I have brought it into the roles, whether it was in the staff nurse role, whether it was an educator role, whether it's in leadership, corporate, wherever. I have just always been that person because maybe it's because I was in theater, I was in dance, I was in sports, and I've always was like, we can bring all of that together. And that's why now, as I call it, building my empire slowly.
Mhm.
I don't believe in building anything swiftly. I want the foundation to be solid. I have always envisioned that nursing, and that was one of the things even my father, my late father, when I was looking to transition from the hospital setting into corporate, into this insurance side, he was like, "What are you going to do?" I said, "What do you mean what I'm going to do? I got 2 degrees. I got all this, certs under my belt, and nursing is beyond the 4 walls. You got
Right.
to understand that." And so, like you just said, to speak to what you said,
Mhm.
yes, it can be all those things. I even remember when I started my consulting business, Nurse Exec Innovations, I had other key nurses say to me, "Do you really think," this is before the pandemic, where everybody wants to be a coach and everybody wants to be an expert and all, right? And she said to me, and I couldn't believe, and I guess people don't have the wildest dreams, but she said to me, "Do you really think you could get paid for that? You
Mhm.
really think it can happen?" I was like, "If you don't think so, watch me. Watch me." I can't sit here and explain to people, but I do give grace because not everybody's a visionary. Not
Mhm.
everybody's a dreamer. Not everybody's a creative. Some people need help along the way. Others, like yourself, you knew that you wanted to do those things. You just needed somebody to speak life into you to
So that,
tell you that, right?
that's
And
the
that's,
thing,
huh?
right? So I
Go
didn't
ahead.
see the thing is that I didn't see anyone doing it. No nurse was really in those spaces doing help. I was working with the NBA. I was working for a record label. I was writing for Vibe magazine and Source magazine. I was doing all of that already over there. Like I was writing music videos, um, video treatments for Bad Boy Entertainment. I did that in the 90s and the 2000s, but it was over there. And then I was a nurse over here. So I never saw anyone doing nursing in those spaces ever. So when she told me that, I was like, no, that's crazy. And Ty Beauchamp gave me that name, Nurse Noel. And
Oh, shout out to Ty.
shout out to Ty. And we was sitting at dinner and she's like, Anthea, you're Nurse Noel now. You're not Anthea, you are Nurse Noel. And so hearing that, hearing Bevy say merge all of them, um, I still didn't know how it looked, what it looked like. And I said, I think God was just leading me into directions. Um,
Hmm. And
yeah.
so, and sometimes it takes a while, right? You may have had that name Nurse Noel, but you have to, number one, believe it. You
Hmm.
have to own it, and then you have to walk in it.
Hmm.
There's a scripture, Isaiah 30-21. It says, "When I tell you to walk left or right, you will hear a voice, then walk in it." You
Mm.
have to just walk in it. And even myself, as I was building Nurse Exec Innovations, Nurse Exec Innovations now is it's going to be 12 years in October of this year. In the beginning stages, was I believing all of what Nurse Exec Innovations could be? In my head, I had it, but I had to believe that I am the CEO that's building this global brand. And as I shared with you, I'm not going to, share on this broadcast. I do have an announcement, which I'm very thankful that to see the fruition. And that's the thing. We have to keep pushing. So I'm glad that you had the Bevy Smiths, the Tybo Chumps, your girl Deja Vu, who is always pushing you on the back end at WBLS. But I'm going to close out this session because we're coming to the end. I usually like to do rapid fire
Okay. Let's do
questions.
it.
You know rapid fire. Okay.
Yep.
So nursing in one word, what would that be for you?
Altruism.
Bedside or boredom, what would that be for you?
Bedside
Or sorry, I said boredom.
Yes, I was like, what?
Boardroom.
I did both, so I don't know. I think now, boardroom.
Okay. One lesson your mother taught you that still guides you today.
Listen to the voice of God.
Mm-hmm. Many others should learn how to listen or stay still to learn. What's harder, nursing school then or now?
Then.
Mm-hmm. She's like, is that a joke question? Yeah, I know. Let me tell you, nursing school was like, remember when Oprah said, all my life I had to fight? Yeah, that was me in nursing school. Technology helping nursing or hurting human connection?
Hurting human connection.
One thing nurses need more of today.
Mentorship.
For free, right?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Because can I just share this with you real quick? So I remember there was a few times during the pandemic, a few people because initially Nurse Exec Innovation started as a coaching brand. And I had several people call, oh my God, these NPs want me to pay for, mentorship. I was like, what? But yeah, I guess that's I'll just plead the fifth right there. I'll just leave it right there.
Coaching is different than mentorship.
No, I know, but I'm saying
you pay for coaching.
I know, but that's what was happening. I don't know that. I guess that would be opportunity for me to invite a couple of NPs to have that discussion as to why, because I don't want to misjudge or misconstrue. One thing, burnout or balance. What's the bigger challenge?
Balance. Balance.
A nurse's greatest superpower is.
Oh. A nurse's the art of juggling.
Okay. What's one thing patients remember most, skill or compassion?
Compassion.
One thing you would change about healthcare immediately?
Reimbursement.
Yeah? Okay. I'll leave it at that. Okay, now we're going into legacy and personal. Haiti or Trinidad cuisine, which one wins?
Really? I am Trini to the bone. Trini to the bone.
Okay. Remember
I'm,
whose podcast you're on.
I'm just saying.
We go. All right. So, what would your mother say seeing your journey today?
Well done.
Well done, my faithful servant. Now, one word that describes your mother's strength.
Resilient.
What does legacy in motion mean to you?
Legacy in motion means hmm, utilizing what they had to move forward and to pay it forward to the next generation. Because my mom was a nurse,
Mm,
original Nurse Noel. I'm a nurse, Nurse Noel. My sister-in-law is now in school for nursing.
mm.
So that is passing the torch to the new generation of Nurse Noel. And my niece is talking about being a nurse.
One of
So
the twins?
yes,
Oh,
I'm excited
okay.
about that.
Good, good. Now finish the sentence. Nursing opened the door to,
Health entertainment.
and daughters of nurses become. Unstoppable.
I got to think about this. Daughters of nurses become, um, you said unstoppable. I'm going to say unstoppable.
So, thank you so much
Thank you for having me.
for,
I'm so
yes.
sorry about this voice. This is so bad. This is, but I'm
So,
going
I
to,
just wanted to end this broadcast with saying thank you so much for you and your, Anita Maker reps, your voice was, a lot of times we think our shortcomings are worse off than they are. You sounded
the lesson is
fine.
I didn't stop because I was going to call and say, hey, I can't do this. I sound
Mhm.
crazy. But, I had an assignment. God gives us assignments, and I just got to sit back and listen and say, you know what? I got to do it. I have to complete the assignment that God gave me. So, thank you for having me.
Yeah, yeah, and thank you for completing the assignment and being obedient because where obedience is, that's where the blessing flows. So thank you so much and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of Nurses Month.
Mhm.
We definitely have to set some time to get together whenever
Mhm.
that will be. I have a number of things going on as well, but I will always make time for Nurse Noel. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful night. Take
Thank
care.
you
God bless. Bye bye.
so much. Bye.